Hey there, deep divers. It's Julie B, and today I'm diving into some key plot points and character developments from season 6, episode 4 of The Handmaid's Tale regarding June, Luke, and Commander Lawrence. Episode 4, called Promotion, marks the start of a risky endeavor that Luke and June undertake with the anti-Gilead Mayday group, while Commander Lawrence continues to grin and bear being part of the repugnant abuses of Gilead, bent on his mission to fix it from within, as he had promised his late wife that he would do. After sitting on the sidelines for most of the series and not taking many risks to try to get his daughter Hannah back, Luke flies into action now. When the case against Luke for the murder of his wife's attacker is dismissed, he doesn't even look happy about it. Because he doesn't want to go live a peaceful life with June and her baby in Alaska while leaving Hannah behind. He wants to stay and fight, so he agrees to help Mayday and aids in their plan to smuggle bombs into Gilead via New Bethlehem. June has taken so many risks and put her neck on the line to try to save Hannah, and now Luke tells her that it's his turn to fight for their daughter, still trapped in Gilead. Mayday plans to bomb several locations, including Jezebel's, during a visit there by powerful commanders coming up. But this puts everyone there at risk. June points out that there needs to be a plan to get the helpless women out of there, and they shouldn't be collateral damage. A man in the crowd says, "Yeah, in an ideal world, which is not the world we live in." This statement packs a punch and is something to keep in mind when judging the actions of the characters in this show. This is far from an ideal world. It's a dystopian hellscape that can transform even good people into ruthless killing machines and monsters, if that's what it takes to survive, protect or avenge their loved ones, or avenge themselves for the abuse they've suffered. Moira also wants to help Mayday in dangerous fashion like Luke, volunteering to go to Jezebel's to gather intel in advance of the planned bombing at that location. She was once forced into prostitution there, so she knows the place well. June tells Moira she can't go to Jezebel's, pointing out how dangerous and triggering that experience could be for her, as a former victim of that place. But Moira refuses to go to Alaska with June. Everyone is done sitting on the sidelines this season, as we're seeing more and more with every major character and supporting character. When the two of them see a printout with Janine's face on it, revealing that she's now at Jezebel's, it lights a fire under June, and she's done staying on the sidelines too. As she says herself, Janine was like a little sister to her, so she convinces the local Mayday leader to send her to Jezebel's instead of Moira. And the clincher is when June points out that unlike Moira, she has someone on the inside who will help her if things go south, Nick Blaine. But June's faith in Nick is misplaced. As I said in my first deep dive on season 6, June needs to open her eyes to the reality that Nick is a selfish coward who is complicit in Gilead's abuses, only willing to stick his neck out for her, no one else, not for any of the other enslaved women. And this season, his father-in-law, Commander Wharton, has been exerting a sinister pressure on him to fall in line and focus on his wife Rose and their unborn child. Moira and Luke are outraged over June's interference in the Mayday plan, resenting the fact that June doubts their competence and fitness for the task at hand. She thinks the result would be too unpredictable and doubts that they can handle it. June wants to go into Gilead herself and have Luke go to Alaska and wait there with her mother and June's baby Holly, formerly named Nicole. He points out that June wants to go in and fight. It's not just about protecting him, Moira, or Janine. He tells her, quote, "You want to fight, then let's fight together," unquote. June admits that yes, she does want to fight, because Hannah is still there. But she warns him not to get his hopes up about rescuing Hannah, as she has several times before, sometimes getting so close but never able to make it happen, so she wanted to spare him from that pain. She also addresses the giant elephant in the room, that she and Luke were both broken by the loss of their daughter Hannah, and no matter what, moving on as a family in Alaska is an impossible dream unless they can be reunited with Hannah as well. As June says, when we lost her, it broke us and broke me, and I feel like it breaks us every day. She says she had an idea in her head that they could go to Alaska and be a family again, but the truth is it's not possible because it doesn't matter where they are. If Hannah is not with them, they're still a broken family. Luke agrees, saying, "Yeah, we're a broken family, and we may be beyond saving, but I already got one impossible dream. I got you back. You're alive. I'm alive. And so this is who we are now, just two lunatics going into Gilead on a wing and a prayer." June warns him that even if Mayday's plan goes perfectly, which it won't, inevitably something will go wrong, it doesn't necessarily mean they'll get to Hannah. He says they still have to try, though, and she agrees. This is the most realistic we've ever seen Luke and June communicate since they've been back together, actually confronting their brokenness and how unlikely their mission is to get Hannah back. But as devoted parents, they feel they have to at least try to save their daughter, and their future has never looked more uncertain. Indeed, June and Luke's relationship was broken from the time they lost Hannah and June was torn away from Luke, forced to become a handmaid. And Nick factors into the equation too. This season, June heavily implied to Nick that she's only staying with Luke out of loyalty to him, because he waited for her while she was trapped in Gilead, but she loves Nick more. But more on that in a future deep dive. Being broken people is a huge theme of the show, the ways in which trauma shapes people, and how they can find purpose in a higher calling, or they can just break. Or both, in June's case. June is broken in so many ways, unable to heal from the trauma of her nightmarish life in Gilead, especially because one of her children is still trapped there. This is a theme I'll be exploring in future videos too. But moving on, let's address the Commander Lawrence situation, as little Angela comes into his library room to see him. Naomi is the guardian of Janine's daughter, Angela. Janine is the biological mother, but per Gilead rules, the child is considered to be Naomi's daughter, as Janine was her late husband's handmaid. Lawrence is actually sweet when interacting with Angela, as she gives him a picture she'd drawn, and he bluffs about what artistic talent she has, and that his wife would appreciate it. His real wife, he whispers, meaning his late wife, Eleanor. Naomi comes charging in and snaps at Angela to get out. There's nothing maternal about this horrid woman, as usual, making it even more tragic for Angela that she isn't being raised by her real mother, Janine, who adores her. As usual, Lawrence is uncomfortable in his role as a husband to Naomi, which had been basically thrust upon him. Even men are under pressure in Gilead. Commanders are expected to have wives. Lawrence never wanted to marry again after his beloved wife passed away, but he relented and married Naomi under pressure. However, it's clearly a marriage in name only, as he rejects her awkward attempt at flirting with him in this scene. Then Naomi warns him that the other commanders will expect things of him now. He says he can handle whatever the brain trust throws at him, and she goes on to say that it's not just golf and cocktail parties anymore. The high commanders share a very specific set of priorities. Lawrence says he knows their priorities, but he seems to be in denial, and even Naomi can see this. She replies, "They derive their sense of power from their virility. Virility is defined as the state or quality of having manly character, vigor, or spirit, and is often associated with masculinity, including the capacity for procreation." Lawrence responds to Naomi, "Power will come from reform. They know I'm their man." Naomi leaves unconvinced, and even Lawrence might be trying to convince himself of this right now. He really is deluding himself. The very foundation of Gilead is built on toxic masculinity, the most toxic and extreme of its kind. So yes, they derive their sense of power from their virility. Gilead is run by a pack of repulsive, sanctimonious hypocrites who preach the gospel, commit monthly SA against handmaids with a holy justification for it that's made up, beat their wives, chop off women's fingers for reading the Bible, execute innocent people, and to top it all off, they leave their wives at home and run off to brothels to sleep with prostitutes who are forced to be there. So of course they derive their sense of power from their virility, not from reform. And you can't reform a rotting carcass. What Lawrence wants to do is impossible. Having been the architect of Gilead, which appalled his late wife and which he deeply regrets, he had promised her that he'd fix Gilead from within. But he can't fix the damage he caused and still preserve Gilead. It's been rotten to the core from day one, and the answer can only be revolution in the end, not reform. Lawrence, for his part, is not a virile, manly man type. He's gentle and sweet with little Angela. He's uninterested in sleeping with his new wife, and he seems uncomfortable in this new boys' club he's now found himself in. He never believed in any of Gilead's religious dogma or wanted to participate in the abuses against women. He just viewed them as a necessary evil to revive the plummeting fertility rate, the crisis that enabled rebel forces to overturn the U.S. using his plans as a blueprint. Until his wife died, Lawrence sat on the sidelines and stayed secluded from the toxic hellscape he had created. But since her death, he's been trying to reform Gilead from the inside to fulfill his promise to her, an impossible dream. So here he is, trying to push reforms by starting with small steps in New Bethlehem and playing the game as he feels he must. For instance, in this episode, he officially becomes a high commander in a private ceremony surrounded by other commanders. Afterward, the commanders get ready to head off to Jezebel's, and Wharton makes it clear that he disapproves of that place's vices and doesn't go there, also making an excuse to get Nick out of going as well. Later at Jezebel's, a disgusting son of a commander gives Janine to Lawrence to sleep with, realizing that she had once been his handmaid. Lawrence looks deeply uncomfortable and ashamed, knowing he had failed to protect Janine from winding up here. Again, since Lawrence never actually believed in Gilead's dogma or approved of the way it treats women, he's never wanted to participate in it personally and has abstained from it as much as possible, even though he's the architect of the whole place. He just thought it was necessary to establish this system to address that fertility crisis, which still doesn't excuse the unspeakable damage he's done, by the way. So, of course, he doesn't make Janine sleep with him, and instead they sit together in the bedroom for a while, where he lets her mouth off at him and gives her a drawing made by Angela. He promises her that he'll do everything he can to protect Angela. Lawrence reveals that he had tried to protect Janine and had managed to keep her from being executed by Gilead, but he claims there was nothing more he could do to keep her out of Jezebel's. Later, in a sweet scene, Lawrence reads The Little Princess to Angela, his wife Eleanor's favorite book, telling her one day she's going to read it herself, meaning he really does plan to protect her and teach her to read, contrary to Gilead's rules outside of New Bethlehem. It's remarkable how this show manages to inspire empathy, even for a man like Commander Lawrence, the architect of this entire hellscape. For all his flaws and for all the catastrophic damage he's caused that can never be undone, he adored his late wife, and he wants to honor her memory by trying to fix this unfixable nightmare and protect whoever he can. He has also done what he can to protect women, like managing to smuggle June's baby Nicole out of Gilead, now named Holly, of course, her original name. He can't undo the damage he's done, and it's unforgivable, but he can do things like this: protect this one little girl, Angela, and teach her to read. Now I want to know what you think. Is Luke right to go on this mission into Gilead and continue working with Mayday, or is he being reckless and in over his head? Do you think Luke and June's marriage is broken beyond repair? What do you think of Commander Lawrence and his efforts to reform Gilead? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, keep on deep diving, and let's see what we can uncover together.